from London representing EY-Seren. What is EY-Seren? And then, you know, who are you, Matt?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Matty.
Yeah, I think we have a clicker.
Yes, right, it's here, waiting for you. It's already here. Here you go. Then I'm gonna wait.
Cheers.
A sec.
Yeah, so I'll fire away. First of all, thanks, Matty. Yeah, it's great to be here. I spend a lot of time going to startup events in London, but I must say that so far today, the energy around here has been great. I think the guys at Slush have done an amazing job, and also the EY guys, Matty and the team have done a great job setting the lounge up here. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit around EY-Seren. A lot of you guys might have heard of Seren. You may not be too familiar with what it is that we do, so hopefully I can put some more clarity around that. But firstly, a little bit of background on who I am. So prior to joining EY-Seren, I spent 2 years in our main advisory business in London, doing strategy and customer transformation programs. Prior to joining EY, I spent a very brief stint in a startup in the edtech space. And then prior to that, I had various side hustles growing up as a kid, selling everything from umbrellas, CDs, and I had quite a lucrative donut business at school, which was a lot of fun. So I guess maybe a non-conventional path into EY, but very fortunate now that I've got a role at Seren, which enables me to spend a lot of time with founders on a daily basis and building out a startup ecosystem, which I'll come on to later. Cool, we're working. So who are we? So as I said, EY-Seren is a digital design and innovation consultancy. We've got some global presence. We've recently opened offices in Johannesburg and Dublin. There's some of the team. Essentially, at our core, we're designers. So we've got a team of UX, CX designers, service designers, storytellers, and more recently business designers as well. So design's very much at the heart of what we do. We've run projects all across the globe, which I think prior to the acquisition was something that was very attractive for EY. We work with a number of global clients, and it's worth saying that Seren was quite a successful consultancy in its own right prior to the acquisition. They've been established for about 8 years.
And when did the acquisition take place? Maybe 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's coming on 3 years now.
Yeah.
So just to give you a flavour, we've worked with some pretty cool brands. Some of these are Seren only clients. Some of them are joint Seren and EY clients. Unfortunately, we had to retire a couple of those following the acquisition because of Channel 1 restrictions, which was a shame, but I think we've definitely come out of it winning. So as I was saying, we place design at the heart of everything we do, and how Seren really made a name for itself was by using customer centricity in delivering customer experiences. So it's placing the customer at the heart of everything we do. And what that does is it means that the experiences we were delivering for clients, and still are delivering, were differentiated. And you ensure that you're giving your customer what they're actually after, which quite often you see a top-down approach as you push a product or a proposition out to market, and you haven't actually checked if anyone wants it, which is pretty important. So we break what we do into 3 key pillars. We've got optimization, which is around how do we improve what we currently do. So we have, for instance, a client has an app on the App Store which has been launched for 6 months. It's got 3-star ratings and terrible reviews. How do we improve that? And there's various analytical tools we use to do so. There's also design. So how do we build really impactful, meaningful customer experiences for our clients? And then there's a point which I'd like to deep dive into is the innovation piece, which is where I primarily sit, which we'll do some talking on. So just some of those tools that I mentioned that we use, so placing customer centricity at the heart of everything we do. You can see that there's a big sort of scale of the insights that we can gather. So using some of the digital analytics tools that we've got, we can gain insights from sort of tens of millions of customers, all the way down to some of the ethnographic research we do is on a one-to-one basis, as is the usability testing. How do we do that? Well, the resources and the facilities we have definitely help. So all of Seren's offices, this is some pictures from the Shoreditch office in East London where I'm based. They're all kitted out with state-of-the-art technologies. We've got some really cool user research labs. So the picture on the top left is actually the lookout room. It's my personal favorite because what you can actually have is you can have your product manager or your CTO sitting in the room with multiple live tests going on. So that's like live product feedback, which is really, really insightful for a product owner. So I think hopefully that gives you a bit of a flavour around the more traditional work that Seren do and how we use design and customer centricity to deliver experiences. What I want to talk about now is our innovation process. And this is something that's now proven in the market. We've run it with a couple of very large corporate clients. And it's essentially built on 4 key principles. So I think in order for innovation to be successful, it has to be participative and collaborative. So I think the attitude of the client's really important. They have to really buy into what you're trying to create. Secondly, there has to be systemic thinking. So the client has to have an awareness of how the innovation that you're trying to create sits in with their current infrastructure. Co-creation, prototyping and iteration is really important. So that's like a lean startup methodology that we've blended into what we do. And then finally, the innovation has to be strategic and value-based. So it really has to tie in with the broader vision of what the client's trying to achieve and the culture of the firm as well. So going back to my point around design, some of you in the room may be familiar with design thinking. These are the 3 design lenses, and we use these at every point of our innovation framework. So design thinking states that in order for an innovation to be successful, you have to consider 3 key components. There has to be, first of all, human insight. People have to want it, and the traditional Seren capability allows us to deliver that. You then have to consider the feasibility of the tech. So given current constraints, can we actually build it? And then finally, and most importantly, arguably, is does it make business sense to do so? Is this a viable proposition? Is it going to make us money? So essentially what we do and what the client gets is we take them on that journey. So all the way through from ideation to prototyping, building proof of concepts, testing them in the market, and then scaling the successful ones. So I think it's fair to say that coming up with ideas is quite easy. And the hard part is execution. And I think that's really where we're positioning this. We help clients make sense of that innovation funnel, help build the right innovation pipeline, and then execute on those ideas. Just a quick word as well. So whilst we're going through that process, what we've also built out is a startup network in the UK. So this was something that was launched from scratch almost 2 years ago. With very minimal funding, it's now proven to be quite a useful asset for the firm. We've organically gone out and built relationships with several hundred startups in the UK. We hold a whole host of events. I think we've done about 16 now. We do fortnightly founder dinners, we do panel discussions, we've engaged with loads of EY people, collaborated with some really cool players in the space, such as accelerators and the like. 7 of those startups are actually now clients of EY's in the UK, generating revenue for the firm. We've got national reach, so we've moved into 5 cities now in the UK. And we leverage this ecosystem throughout that innovation framework that I've just spoken about. So it's really impactful both for the client to be able to tap into the best startup talent and tech that's emerging, as well as for the startups. It's a fantastic opportunity to get in front of C-suite of some really big clients and drive traction. So just to bring to life a little bit around how we use this innovation framework effectively, we helped launch Visa Europe CoLab, which is Visa's innovation lab solution. So I think Visa was spending a hell of a lot of R&D on innovation, and they approached EY-Seren back in 2015 and basically said that we want to totally strip out how we innovate internally, and we want a new solution. And what we did was we implemented the framework that I've just taken us through. we developed a customer-centered innovation framework, defined their pipeline, and then you can see our 3 lenses there. We built that ecosystem of partners around them, which totally changed how they innovate internally. And one of the real success stories you may have seen in the press this year, something that came out of the Visa collabs, was FingoPay. So FingoPay is an innovation they're rolling out now, which enables customers to pay using their index finger. So the scanning maps your veins in your finger. It's a pretty neat technology, but this was born out of Visa collabs. And it was so successful in London that we helped them launch it in Tel Aviv and Berlin as well, and reduced that innovation timeline right down from about 18 months to 100 days. So that's sort of stripping out, helping them make sense of that funnel, and then executing on ideas in a lean, more agile way. And then the second case study, which brings this to life quite effectively, quite appropriate, I think, given that we're at Slush. We started working with a very early stage startup called LBX, and they didn't even have a product. They just had an idea in their heads. The founder's a proven crypto entrepreneur. He's been in the game for about 5 or 6 years. So we partnered with LBX this summer, and we helped launch last week the London Block Exchange. So we took LBX from concept to launch in 12 weeks, which is pretty quick. And LBX is the UK's first designated cryptocurrency exchange. So what did Seren do? We helped them design the MVP for the wallet, and it has an associated debit card, which is going to enable consumers to pay with crypto in store, which is pretty cool. And we're currently doing a series of 2-week sprints to help them build a platform which enables users of the service to trade crypto. Pretty topical at the moment with the Bitcoin madness that's been going on the last 10 days. But this is an example of how we can use the innovation framework not only for our big corporate clients, but also for our startups. And then obviously leaning on the heavy lifting power of the traditional EY business, we can help them move pretty quick. So that's who we are, and that's a little bit about EY-Seren. But thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And if you haven't realized it yet, I think EY hopefully starts to look somewhat different based on the experts that we have heard today in terms of our footprint and our interest and our passion in working with the growth market, be it startups or be it large corporates looking to innovate and stuff. So I think I've been with EY now for 3.5 years, and I think EY-Seren was the first that I sort of thought, wow, an audit firm is definitely doing things. And I think prior to that, we had already purchased Parthenon, which is another great asset. Now we have Box. We have ET Ventures that we bought in Germany. So I guess again the message across to you all guys is that I don't think there is anything in your portfolio or in your thinking or in your planning that we couldn't somehow add value to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Matt is going to be around today and tomorrow, so grab him. Talk to him on this stuff. And again, Matt, maybe one question in terms of your sort of first-time exposure to Slush. How does Finland and Slush and all that sort of come across in terms of potential grounds for us as EY to do a lot of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity for us to make a statement. And as you say, news several years ago of us acquiring Seren was probably quite an interesting step for us. But I think things have moved on. So I look at the 2.5 years I've been at the firm, things have definitely come along pretty quickly. And there's a lot of investment from right at the top going into this area now. I think something like Slush gives us an opportunity to make a real statement, to say that we're we're here, we're not talking about this stuff, we're actually doing it. And yeah, it's a great opportunity, and there's some really big players here. I think we've got such a saturated events market in London. I think you could probably go to about 3 or 4 meetups every night if you wanted to. But something like Slush just brings together the best of everyone around the globe. Yeah, it's great that EY are here, and we're making noise around the great stuff. We're supporting them on both sides of the fence, both the corporate world, helping them, sort of the old guard, and then also helping the startups grow.
Excellent, thank you, Matt. And in 10 minutes' time, we'll add another layer to our journey into interesting stuff. We'll be talking about IoT. Thank you very much.
Thanks.